The first sensation that returned to Lin Qian after death was warmth. The sharp, metallic scent of blood she remembered from her last breath was gone. Instead, she smelled fresh ink and paper, the faint perfume of Osman thus drifting in through the window. She opened her eyes slowly, her lashes trembling, and for a long moment, she thought the heavens had played a cruel trick. She was not lying in the cold hospital bed where she had wasted away, betrayed and abandoned. Instead, she was in her old bedroom in the Lin family mansion, the walls painted soft cream, her desk stacked with exam notes. A familiar calendar hung by the bedside. It showed a date from 6 years ago. Her heart thudded. She scrambled from the bed, her legs trembling as she caught sight of herself in the mirror. The reflection was not the weary, broken woman she had been when she died, but the 20-year-old girl she had once been, naive, full of hope, and still untouched by the blade of betrayal she had been reborn. Memories surged, overwhelming her. In her past life, she had loved Shen Zixuan, the officer who wore his uniform with such dignity that her heart swelled whenever she saw him. She had given up everything to marry him, only to find herself cast aside when her younger sister, Lin Wei, set her sights on him. Her sister's sweet smile had hidden poison, and soon the two people she trusted most had laughed behind her back, stealing both her husband and her dignity. She remembered the night she had cried alone, the humiliation of being told she was unworthy, and finally the despair of her lonely deathbed. But now, with heaven's mercy, she had returned to the very beginning. Her lips curved, though no smile touched her eyes. Lin Wei, Shen Zixuan. This time, let's see who plays whom. That morning, she descended the stairs with unusual calm. Her parents sat at the table. Her mother scolded the maid about the porridge while her father flipped through the newspaper. Lin Wei was already there, her delicate face glowing with youth and sweetness. Elder sister Lin Wei greeted warmly, tilting her head like an innocent dove. You're finally awake. You must have been studying too late again. But you shouldn't neglect your health. You'll need it to support Brother Zixuan in the future. Her words were coated in honey, but Lin Qian heard the sharp edge beneath them. In her past life, she would have flushed, embarrassed by her sister's reminder of her engagement. But this time, she met her sister's gaze evenly. Don't worry, she said softly, her tone carrying a weight that made Lin Wei blink. I'll take care of myself, and my future. A flicker of unease passed across Lin Wei's face before she masked it with a laugh. Later that afternoon, Shen Zixuan came to call. He stood tall and proud in his officer's uniform, his presence drawing admiring glances from the servants. Lin Qian's heart used to race at the sight of him, but now, as she watched him hand her lilies, the same flowers he would one day give Lin Wei in secret, her expression remained composed. Qian, he said gently, these are for you. I've been busy, but I thought of you. She took the bouquet, her fingers brushing his. But instead of blushing, she smiled faintly, her eyes unreadable. Thank you, Brother Zixuan. You're always thoughtful. He paused. Something about her felt different. Before, she would stammer, overwhelmed with adoration. Now, she was calm, distant, almost mature. Lin Wei soon slipped into the room, her eyes widening in practiced delight as she praised Shen Zixuan's uniform, asking questions about his work, her admiration barely hidden. He answered warmly, too warmly, and though in the past Lin Qian would have been wounded, she only noted the way his gaze lingered a second too long on her sister. Her lips curved coldly. So it begins again. But this time, she would not be the fool. 2 weeks later, during a banquet, Lin Qian met Lu Ming, the man who, in her past life, had been dismissed by everyone as a useless wastrel. He was Lin Wei's future husband, chosen reluctantly by the Wei family to cement alliances. To outsiders, Lu Ming was lazy, a carefree drunkard with no ambition. Lin Wei had despised him, humiliating him at every turn, and eventually discarded him completely once she secured Shen Zixuan. But Lin Qian remembered more. At her funeral, when everyone else had sneered or gossiped, Lu Ming had stood quietly in the corner, his expression grave, his eyes shadowed with something she had not understood then. She had dismissed him too, blind to the depth behind his laughter. Now, seeing him again, leaning against a column with a glass of wine, his lips curled in a lazy smile as he watched the crowd, her heart stirred with a strange recognition that he caught her staring. His brows lifted, and his grin widened. Miss Lin Qian, is my face so fascinating you can't look away? The people nearby chuckled, and Lin Wei rushed to his side, tugging at his sleeve. Husband, Don't tease my sister. She doesn't like jokes. But Lu Ming didn't look at Lin Wei. His gaze remained on Lin Qian, playful but edged with curiosity. Strange. I don't think your sister minds at all. Lin Qian's lips twitched. Perhaps I was just wondering how someone with such arrogance manages to get away with it. He laughed, a genuine sound that drew attention, and for the first time, she saw the sharp glint hidden beneath his frivolous facade. That night, as the banquet waned, she stumbled slightly on the stairs. Before she could fall, a strong arm caught her. She looked up into Lu Ming's eyes. No longer lazy, but sharp, protective, careful, he murmured, steadying her. It'd be a shame if you broke before the real games even began. Her heart gave a small jolt. She masked it with a smile. Are you implying I'm a toy? No, he said, his voice low enough for only her to hear. I'm saying you're the only one in this room who doesn't bore me. Her breath caught, but she quickly withdrew, her eyes narrowing. This man was dangerous in a way she hadn't noticed before. As the weeks passed, fate kept throwing them together. At dinners, at family visits, even by chance on the street, Lu Ming appeared. He still wore the mask of the careless drunkard, but when his eyes met hers, the mask slipped, if only a little. Meanwhile, Lin Wei grew bolder in her closeness to Shen Zixuan. Lin Qian watched them from the shadows one evening as they whispered together, her sister's hand brushing against his arm. Instead of rage, she felt a cold, clear satisfaction. Let them sink deeper into their treachery. This time, she would not lift a finger to stop them. One evening, under the lanterns in the Lin family garden, Lu Ming approached her. The air was heavy with the scent of night-blooming jasmine. Lin Qian, he said softly, no trace of mockery in his voice. Tell me, why do you look at me like you've known me for a long time? Her heart jolted. For a moment, she almost told him the truth, that she had lived this life before, that she had seen his loyalty wasted on a woman who never cared, that she had died without realizing who he really was. But instead, she smiled faintly. Maybe because you're not as easy to ignore as you pretend to be. His eyes darkened, studying her. For once, he didn't reply with a jest. Instead, he inclined his head slightly, as if acknowledging a truth only the two of them could see. That night, Lin Qian lay awake, staring at the ceiling. In her past life, she had poured her heart into Shen Zixuan, blind to his betrayal and deaf to the whispers around her. But this time, she had no intention of wasting her love on the undeserving. The following weeks unfolded like a storm gathering beyond the horizon. Lin Qian played her role carefully, no longer the foolish girl who had once blindly worshipped Shen Zixuan. She smiled when expected, remained quiet when necessary, and allowed her sister's arrogance to grow unchecked. Lin Wei believed she was winning again, that soon her elder sister would be discarded just as before. But Lin Qian's calm, steady gaze made Lin Wei restless at night. Shen Zixuan, too, sensed something was amiss. One evening, when the two families gathered for dinner, he pulled Lin Qian aside, his brows furrowed. Qian, have I done something to upset you? You seem different lately. Distant. Lin Qian looked up at him, her expression serene. In the past, she would have panicked, rushing to reassure him of her devotion. Now, she merely tilted her head. Do I? Perhaps I've simply grown wiser. His jaw tightened. He reached for her hand, but she stepped back, her eyes cold. For the first time, Shen Zixuan felt a flicker of unease. The Lin Qian who once hung on his every word was gone, replaced by a woman whose calm indifference unnerved him. From the corner of the room, Lu Ming watched. A faint smirk touched his lips, though his eyes remained unreadable. Later, when he found Lin Qian alone in the corridor, he leaned against the wall, his posture casual. So, he drawled, even your oh-so-perfect fiancé notices you've changed. Should I be jealous? She shot him a sidelong glance. Jealous? You barely know me. His grin widened. On the contrary, I think I know you better than your precious officer ever did. He sees a fragile doll to be admired. I see fire, sharp edges, someone who refuses to kneel even when beaten down. That's not something I forget. Her heart skipped, though she kept her face composed. You say such things to every woman, don't you? For a moment, his smile faltered. His gaze deepened, stripping away the mask of frivolity. No, he said quietly, just you. Her breath caught, and she turned away, unwilling to let him see the tremor in her chest. The days passed, and whispers began to spread. Servants spoke of Lin Wei spending too much time with Shen Zixuan, of their stolen glances, their hands brushing too often to be accidental. In her past life, those whispers had broken Lin Qian's heart, leaving her desperate and humiliated. But this time, she listened with calm detachment, her lips curving faintly as she let the scandal bloom on its own. At a grand festival banquet, the tension finally snapped. As fireworks lit the night sky, Lin Wei slipped away from the crowd, meeting Shen Zixuan in a shadowed pavilion. She thought herself unseen, but Lin Qian stood at the garden's edge, her gaze cold as ice. "Zixuan," Lin Wei whispered, her voice dripping with false shyness. "Do you really mean it? That you love me, not sister?" Shen Zixuan caught her hands, his expression conflicted but his voice firm. "Wei, I've tried to fight it, but yes. You're the one I think of every night. Qian is kind, but she's not you." Lin Qian's lips curved in a bitter smile. The same words. The same betrayal. History repeating, only this time she was no longer the naive victim in the dark. She turned to leave, but a shadow detached from the trees. Lu Ming stood there, his arms folded, his eyes glinting with amusement and something darker. "Well," he murmured, "isn't this interesting? Your perfect sister and her perfect officer. What a pair of hypocrites." Lin Qian met his gaze steadily. "It seems you enjoy watching a play." He tilted his head. "Only when the leading actress is worth the ticket." Their eyes locked, and for a moment, something unspoken passed between them. The next day, rumors exploded. Somehow, servants had spread tales of Shen Zixuan and Lin Wei's secret rendezvous. The families were thrown into turmoil, their carefully crafted reputations shaken. Shen Zixuan sought out Lin Qian, desperation in his eyes. "Qian, listen to me. Those rumors are lies. I would never betray you." She looked at him calmly, her expression unreadable. "Wouldn't you? Then tell me, Shen Zixuan, where were you last night during the fireworks?" He froze. She had never spoken to him like this before, her voice laced with steel. His lips parted, but no words came. "I thought so," she said softly. "You don't need to explain. I already understand." And with that, she walked away, leaving him standing there, stunned. Lu Ming found her later in the courtyard, sitting beneath the blossoming plum tree. He dropped onto the bench beside her, stretching lazily. "You handled that well. Most women would have cried, begged, thrown things." "I'm not most women," she replied, her gaze fixed on the falling petals. He studied her in silence for a moment before saying, "You know, Lin Wei doesn't deserve me." She turned, startled, then laughed despite herself. "You say that as if you were some great prize." He leaned closer, his grin mischievous but his eyes serious. "Maybe I am. At least for the one woman who dares to see past the mask." Her heart thudded. She tried to dismiss him with a retort, but the words died on her tongue. For all his teasing, his gaze was unwavering, burning with a sincerity that made her chest ache. As weeks turned into months, their bond deepened. Where Shen Zixuan's presence once suffocated her with false promises, Lu Ming's company was unexpectedly liberating. He teased her until she laughed, challenged her until she grew sharper, and stood at her side with a quiet loyalty that never wavered. One rainy night, as thunder rolled across the sky, he found her pacing restlessly in the garden pavilion. Without a word, he shrugged off his cloak and draped it over her shoulders. "You'll catch cold," he said softly. She looked up, her eyes glistening. "Why do you do this? Pretend to be careless, yet always appear when I need someone." He smiled faintly. "Because I know what it's like to be overlooked. Everyone thinks I'm useless, a drunkard, a fool. But you look at me like I'm more than that. How could I not come when you need me?" Her throat tightened. Before she could speak, he cupped her face gently, his thumb brushing away a raindrop, or was it a tear? "Lin Qian," he whispered, his voice raw. "I don't care what the world thinks. I don't care what our families planned. All I know is that I want you. Not your sister. You." Her breath shuddered. In her past life, she had died without ever hearing words like these, without ever realizing where true loyalty lay. Now, reborn, she had been given a chance. Slowly, she placed her hand over his. Then prove it, Lu Ming. Stay by my side, no matter how the storm rages. His eyes burned, and he pulled her into his arms as the rain poured down around them, sealing their vow with the silence of the night. From that moment, their fates were entwined. Shun Zishuan and Lin Wei, entangled in their own deceit, found themselves facing growing scorn as their betrayal came to light. Meanwhile, Lin Qian and Lu Ming stood together, their bond forged not from false promises but from truth and fire. And when the world looked on, shocked that the so-called Wastrel had chosen her, Lin Qian only smiled. For she knew the truth. In her past life, she had lost everything to betrayal. But in this life, reborn, she had found the one man who saw her for who she truly was, and chose her without hesitation. This time, she would not be the victim. She would be the victor, standing hand in hand with the man destiny had hidden in plain sight.